Hi, folks. Today, our video is regarding the COVID-19 vaccines. We have been suffering through this pandemic, this disease of COVID-19 since about the February or March of 2020, and it's been about 1 year. And luckily, there are few vaccines are out there, and there's a ray of hope. There's a light at the end of the tunnel that we can see. But now the question is that which vaccine is better? What are the different types of vaccines? And if there is any comparison, I tried to did do my research, and I found out different types of vaccines that we could actually compare and know about them, and it may be useful to my viewers. What are those different type of vaccines, and how can we compare about them? So let's start going through them one by one. So made a little presentation for you guys. This different type of COVID vaccine. This is the famous virus that you can see. It's right there. What are the four basic type of vaccines I'm going to discuss here so far that we have the information about? The first one is the whole virus vaccine. Well, this vaccine includes the companies that are making Sinopharm, Sinovac from China. Second is the nucleic acid vaccines, what we call RNA, which is ribonucleic acid, or messenger RNA vaccines. Two famous ones are the Pfizer BioNTech, that was the first one that came out, and then Moderna. The third type is non-replicating viral vector. These type of vaccines is Oxford AstraZeneca, one of the famous one that came out from UK, and Sputnik 5 from Russia, and they're using this technique, and we'll go through these techniques one by one to give the better understanding what kind of vaccines are those, and we'll do a little comparison maybe. And the last one is the protein subunit. Well, this vaccine is currently in its final phases. It's going to get the approval from CDC as well as from the US government. Very soon, one of the maker is Novavax. Let's go through them. What is whole virus vaccine? What is whole virus vaccine? Well, we know that Sinopharm and Sinovac is making them. 2 doses are required. Both are intramuscular. Other vaccines that are built on with the same principle are the polio vaccine, rabies vaccine, hepatitis. This is very well established technique. What do we know? What happens is the whole virus is a weakened virus, it's a dormant virus, it's deactivated virus, which is injected into the body, and the body starts producing those antigens, which triggers the immune response in the body. Known established technique, benefits is very established, and it is good for the people that have compromised immune system, and it's relatively simple to manufacture. So here is the picture that we can actually kind of use that picture and see what is happening. This is the what we are talking about, the weakened virus or inactive virus in this shape. They inject it into the body, and there's the body cell, whether the virus replicates. In some cases, which is the weakened virus, if it is a weakened virus, it has the ability to replicate. If it is inactivated virus, it doesn't replicate, and then it produces the immune response. And then the body starts making all kind of antigens and have a very strong immune response. What is our next type of vaccine? Is nucleic acid vaccine. This is the messenger RNA or the ribonucleic acid vaccine. Not very established. It's the first time that has been introduced when the COVID vaccines were worked on. Previously, it has not been established into the market. I think that's what has caused lots of conspiracy theories, lots of debates that maybe there are some sort of a genetic material that is going to be injected into us, and some sort of a microchip or something which is going to keep the track for all the people, trying to control the population of the people or whatnot. Honestly, there is nothing that. This is just a new technique. The world is not known about it. People are not aware about this technique, so there are all kinds of doubts out there. So what do we know about this RNA vaccine? Of course, I mentioned Pfizer BioNTech. and Moderna has produced. These are some of the big names. The first few names, a couple of names that came out last year in December. First, Pfizer BioNTech came out with approvals with a 95% of efficacy. Then Moderna came out pretty much around the same lines, 90 to 95% efficacy, which is honestly very, very high for the vaccine. It's not, the efficiency of a cure like a medicine is not that high. So it is, it seems like a great breakthrough. What do they have is that you have to inject 2 doses, both are intramuscular with a difference of about 3 to 4 weeks. If there is any other licensed vaccine that is using this type of technology, I have just mentioned it is none. That's why there are all kinds of doubts that are out there in the minds of the people. What do we know? That since no other technology, no other approved vaccine is using this type of technology, it could be mistaken for completely new to the healthcare. However, the mRNA vaccines have been worked, and studied in the past for some certain illnesses, which are cytomegalovirus, CMV, influenza, rabies, Zika virus. According to the CDC, researchers have been studying and working with mRNA vaccines for decades. Interest has grown in these vaccines because they can be developed in the labs using readily available material. They can be scaled up and they can be manufactured, for a faster development. Here is a little output again for us that to see that what happens. This is the type of vaccine that we're talking about. mRNA vaccines. It goes into the cells. The viral messenger RNA is released into the cell that causes the viral proteins to be produced. Those spiky proteins that get produced and that cause antigen cells in the body to be produced, which causes the immune system and great immune response in our body. The third type is non-replicating viral vector. Now, who are the manufacturers of these? Oxford AstraZeneca is the biggest one, and the Sputnik 5 from Russia, from the Gamaleya Research Institute in Moscow. They have produced this vaccine. Again, this is 2 doses intramuscular, almost same patterns for all the vaccines. What other type of vaccine, which is licensed vaccine, which is using this type of technology? Ebola virus. And Ebola virus, we know that we had an Ebola, outbreak a few years back, very hardly hit in Africa, and this vaccine was used very successfully over there. What do we know? In this case, what happens is that a genetically modified version of a virus is introduced into the body, which is called a vector, and that vector is in this case for AstraZeneca, Oxford AstraZeneca and Sputnik 5, is that spiky virus. You remember those the spiky thing for the virus that we saw, in the famous pictures. That causes the body to start producing antigens. This is genetically modified viruses. They do replicate sometime in the body, but they're very safe and causes the large amount of antigens to be produced in the body, which in turn trigger a huge immune response. What is the benefit? The benefit is that it can trigger a very strong immune response. Because it involves not just the T cells, but also the B cells. It's a bit more, we're going into the details, biological details, but this has a very strong immune response as opposed to, the other traditional viruses and the new virus vaccines or the new nucleic acid virus vaccine. What are the challenges? Well, the challenges is that they're relatively complex to manufacture. It's not that easy, but recently we have seen that there's a lot of production has been going on for Oxford AstraZeneca as well as for the Sputnik. So hopefully we'll have a huge production coming out for our security of and the safety of the people around the world using this technique. Now, once again, viral vectors. What happens is that you have, as I mentioned, you have these spike genes or coronavirus non-replicating. In this case, this is the non-replicating one which is going to the body. The replicating ones are also there, but this is not the one that is being used. It's used for Ebola virus. For coronavirus, they're using this kind of genetically modified spiky proteins, viruses they inject into the body. They do not replicate, but they, introduce a huge antigen response, which creates the strong immunity in our body. The last one is the protein subunit. What is that? Well, Novavax in the US is actually producing and working on this virus vaccine. They are in the final stages of their approval. Hopefully, very soon they will get the approval. This is one of the, also very good technology, very well established. 2 doses again, both intramuscular. Other licensed vaccines that are using this technology, known hepatitis B, meningococcal disease, pneumococcal disease, shingles, it's very well established technique. What happens is that you take the purified pieces of the pathogen. So what do they do is that they take, instead of genetically modified pieces of the virus or genetically modified virus, introducing into the body, just like the viral vector technique that we have seen for the Oxford, AstraZeneca, and Sputnik. This one will take the purified protein of the virus. In this case, they will take that the spiky protein, but in its pure form. Now, it is part of the virus; it's not the full virus, so there's no chance of any, replication or causing any sort of issue. And then when it goes into the body, the body starts producing all kinds of antigens against those proteins. These are the purified proteins, so the reaction is very strong and it works, very well against the real disease or real viruses. Well, what is the benefit? As mentioned, it is very safe, highly recommended, and advantageous for the people with a compromised immune system, because you're not introducing any deactivated virus, you're not introducing any genetically modified virus, you're not introducing any sort of a nucleic acid into the body that can cause other side effects. This one is like the pure protein of the virus. Of course, it's going to create the immune response, but the immune response will be against that purified protein, that spiky protein of the coronavirus or COVID-19 virus, and there is no chance of any replication. The challenge is it's complex. It's very complex to manufacture, and then you need the booster shots. Maybe after a little while, your body has produced enough antigens, but then after a little while, because those proteins are not really replicating in the body, they are just the pieces of protein. After a little while, they dissolve away, they go away. The body stops producing any more antigens, causing any more immunity. So you would need some sort of a booster shots later. How do they work? They are actually protein subunits, as I mentioned. They just take these spike proteins, exactly those spiky proteins that we have seen on the coronavirus. They take that, inject into the body, very simple, inject into the body, and the body starts producing those T cells, antigens, and immune response. Another technique which is similar to that is virus-like particles. You take the virus-like particles and you take the empty shell of coronavirus structure, and you have those spiky proteins on it introduced into the body, non-replicating. They never replicate, so there is very less chances of having any sort of other side effects or people with a compromised immune system. Now, let's compare them, some top vaccines. What do we know about them? That Oxford, AstraZeneca, you need 2 shots. Is the viral vector type technique. It is effective for to 60 to 90% efficacy has been seen. Regular fridge temperature, so very easy to move around, administer. Logistically, it's very easy. Moderna is a nucleic acid vaccine. They introduce messenger RNA into the body, and that causes the body to produce the antigens. New technique, definitely very high efficiency, 95% efficiency, because it's actually very targeted messenger nucleic acid technique. It can be stored up to minus 20 degrees centigrade, which is like your freezer temperature, so it's not too bad. So you have the freezers, you need small freezers, and you can keep that in there. Pfizer BioNTech was the first one that came out. It is a joint venture of the Pfizer from US and BioNTech from Germany. Again, efficiency is very high, 95%. It is also nucleic acid vaccine. It introduces those messenger RNAs of the COVID-19 virus in your body, and that causes in the body to produce the immunity. Efficiency is also very high, 95%, but one of the drawback, it's not that bad, but one of the drawback is that it requires minus 70 degrees to minus 80 degrees centigrade, which become very difficult. I mean, it could be easily transported into the countries where the logistics could be available. It's very expensive to move around because you have to keep the vaccine at minus 70 degrees centigrade. The fourth one, which we actually another category that we discussed, which is from the Gamalaya Institute of Russia, Sputnik 5. It's also viral vector vaccine. It has the efficacy of 92% and regular fridge temperature. You can keep it. The Sinovac and Sinopharm vaccine from the China, they also fall into the same category. They have the efficacy of 60 to 90% and regular fridge temperature. So essentially, when we come to the comparison, all of them are very well established techniques, except the new nucleic acid ones, which has caused the doubts in our minds. But in my opinion, they're all strong vaccines. They will produce a strong immunity in our body. People with the complicated complications or pre-existing conditions could actually see some sort of side effects, but overall these vaccines are very safe and any one of them can be used. Hopefully you like this presentation. This presentation has given a brief outlook of what different types of vaccine, what are the principles that they are made of, and give us a peace of mind that they are all safe to use, and based on the availability, which one is available, which one is available for you, the government has actually procured for you. I think it's safe to go for these vaccines. Thank you very much. Don't forget to give your feedback. We'll touch base again. Thanks. Bye.